Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Astrology is great because it can reveal different personality traits. It can give you the timeline for your life. What is coming next in your life based on the stars? I've seen it in action. I've had it done for me. She's done it for me. Spot on. Even compatibility. Are you compatible with somebody else based on your astrological sign? And even deeper than that, maybe a natal chart, transit chart, all of that stuff. We're going to talk about that today with a psychological astrologer, also an author, and she's back with us. Carmen Turner-Schott is on the program. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good. Nice to be back. It's still been a crazy time, with these retrogrades, but Mercury is still in shadow till the end of September, but we feel a little bit of relief with the communication stuff. So that's good.
So before we delve into the compatibility using astrology.
Yeah.
All right. I know we're in the post phase for Mercury retrograde. There were other planets that had gone retrograde during the Mercury retrograde. And as I understood from you, a little more impactful because there was more planets doing that than normal. Where are we with that?
We're still in that. So we have Jupiter. Jupiter went retrograde. So if Jupiter, we have Uranus, we have Neptune, we have Saturn, we have Pluto, all retrograde. And so Pluto goes direct in October. So that'll be a big relief for people. And that's been a very intense planet that brings up a lot of wounds, healing. So when it goes direct, typically something will happen. When a planet goes retrograde, oftentimes it'll trigger a life event. Then when it goes direct, something might happen. And astrologers, we kind of look at what's going on in the world. There could be a secret revealed about something pretty big on the news or impacting people when Pluto goes direct. And, because that energy is going to expose something, So there's all these theories. We talked about Jupiter retrograde affects money, finance, business, because it's in Taurus. It's retrograde in Taurus, the money sign, the finance house, the security. So, but Uranus retrograde, Saturn retrograde, all these retrogrades it's just a really unique time right now this year that we have all of them at the same time. They'll all start kind of, I think Jupiter goes direct end of December. So we got a couple months of that. Pluto's been retrograde a while. It's going to go direct next month. So we're going to see a relief soon. But we just gotta play it out, and it's energy. That's all, and it's the energy that is affecting us. And we just gotta, be easy on ourselves. Self-care. If you need to, express emotion, if you're not feeling quite right, that's very common. I've had so many people reach out to me out of the blue. I just had someone FaceTime me yesterday, and they never have called me before, and I helped them. They had a trigger. Something triggered them. Brought up all this stuff from childhood. And I just did, just some grounding exercises with them, had them breathe and just talked them through it. And they felt better. And I said, this is something you can do on your own. They're like, what's wrong with what's going on? I never feel like this. I said, I think it's just an intense time. There's a lot affecting your chart and everyone. I mean, I'm hearing it from people that don't even believe in astrology.
Yeah.
Like, man, it's been rough. I just feel like life, one thing after the other, And I'm like, hang in there. It's going to get a lot better. It is. It's just we have these cycles, in life and energy and astrology and the planets trigger things. They do. They trigger life events. The economy. There's a lot of things going on. So we just have to play it. Play and live with this energy and try to be positive and not let it deter us. We have to be a little tough and outsmart it. That's the thing. Outsmart some of this energy.
I guess to make us feel a little bit better, is this one of the most impactful astrological times in terms of retrograde in a long time?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. And it's a really powerful time coming up in the next year or so, because Pluto is going to go into the sign of Aquarius, which we talked about. It kind of went in there last year, and then it went back into back into Capricorn. Then it kind of, now it retrogrades. Now it's in Capricorn right now, retrograde Pluto, but it hasn't been in Aquarius since the 1800s. So when it goes in there, it's a major change in the world. I think the French Revolution happened last time that Pluto was in the sign of Aquarius. It's been that long. So that's like a generational change in the world, right? So there's a lot of things going on. The birth, it's Aquarius is all about technology and innovation. I mean, look, this AI stuff is a big controversy right now. With authors, people have been asking me. I was doing a webinar, and they're like, "Well, what do you think about this AI?" And I'm like, it can write books for you. It can do all this stuff. And I'm like, what? It can? And they're worried about it replacing jobs. This is all kind of Pluto Aquarius kind of stuff going on already. If you look in the news.
Yeah. The AI thing is speeding up, faster. It's a little bit concerning, but the one thing it can't do is have emotion.
True. It can't replace the people and the people to people connection like this.
I'll tell you, when I call a company and I get an AI voice, and basically it's the company's just lazy and they just, type the script out. Thank you for calling. But I go numb. I don't even hear it. I don't even, we are here to service you. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh,
I don't even know what you're saying. I check out.
I know.
It is the most ridiculous thing, and shame on any company that does that, because you're lazy and you don't care about your customers. And it's not about efficiency. If you want efficiency, have great tech support, have great customer support. Rant is over.
No, I agree. It's
just the way it is.
I literally yelled. I remember one time I was like, hit one. I am here to, what did you need? I do not understand what you need. And I said, I want to talk to a human being. That's what I said. Can I talk to a person? I've done that multiple times.
Oh my gosh, Carmen. When I call one of my banks that we use, I'll say it, Capital One. Okay. And you go through all of this, the messages, and it's not AI, not an AI voice, but it's like award-winning customer service. And then you got to go through all the prompts. You know how I go through the prompts every single time? I don't even give up my information, last 4 digits, social, blah, blah, blah. I just get, this is what I say: representative,
over and over,
representative, over and over and over, and eventually you get a representative.
Me too. It's annoying.
It is.
I have this happen all the time. I'm like, oh.
Well, it's interesting. We're talking about customer relationships here, but we are basically talking about relationships in general today, connected to astrology and specifically compatibility. So, what are some rule of thumbs with astrology when it comes to the compatibility between two people?
Sure. So I'm going to break it down in real basic, and then give some other things that astrologers look at. So the first thing is, we look at the elements. So in nature, we have fire, air, earth, and water. And if you think of fire signs, the fire signs are Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. And fire, they are passionate, right? They're go-getters. They like to kind of be in charge, right? They like to be leaders. They like to have freedom and independence. And so then you have the air element, which is known to be the most compatible with the fire element, because if you think about it, air helps fire grow, right? And they kind of help each other. So if you think of it in basic nature, so the air signs are Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. And so let's just focus on fire and air first. So fire signs typically click on the sun sign alone. When you first meet, Leo and Aries, they typically they vibe, right? You think it's okay. And same with air signs, Aquarius, Gemini, Libras. When they meet, there's a similarity because they share the same element. But then you have to you got to peel the onion a little bit. So with this, traditionally, polar opposite signs are very compatible. And what that means is there's certain signs that always oppose each other in the sky at all times. It's just the way astronomy is. And that is going to be the fire and air signs always oppose each other.
Meaning that they're not compatible.
No, it means they are compatible. When you hear polar, you think which I don't know why astrologers
Polar
call it.
opposite.
Yeah, you think it means you're different. It's actually a very good match for you. So Leo, their opposite is Aquarius, and Sagittarius's opposite is Gemini. Aries opposite is Libra, and they share similar traits, similar personality traits. They also are a compatible energy. See, that's why they actually are drawn to each other, because they're a little different. Fire and air signs. Fire are more emotional, passionate. Air signs are more intellectual, right? They're not as emotional. So they can handle the fire signs fire because they're more calm and mellow. Okay, the air. Because they're more like thinking in their head and logical, and they're not letting the fire sign disturb them because they don't get riled up like the fire sign does. So they're able to balance each other. It's kind of like a seesaw.
Okay.
And so your polar opposite sign is always a good match for you. And, as we're Virgos, for instance, I have so many friends that are Pisces. Like when I meet Pisces, they just like me immediately. And I typically, I feel comfortable with them. Now I might not be, best friends with them. And I never dated one. That's the funny thing. I never dated them, but I always had them like at work or friendship or whatever. And I would like, yeah, okay. We're different, but there's something similar a little bit. And what we call it is it's like a continuum. Like every Leo, you have Leo like A, B, C. You can be a Leo on this continuum, or you can be a Leo in the middle and have a little bit Aquarius trait, or an Aquarius can be in the middle and have a little bit of Leo. So they're going to have similar personality traits because they're just because they're compatible elements.
But there's a lot of variables here too.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna get into some of the keys. So I know in a lot of time. So water and earth. So water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And the earth signs are most compatible with water, and earth is good with, earth and water, etc. So the earth signs are Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. So Cancer's opposite is Capricorn. Scorpio's opposite is Taurus. Pisces opposite is Virgo. And so that means they're compatible elements. They're compatible modalities, which means they tend to see the world in the same way. So there's a basic compatibility right there is where we start. That's like 101. Fire and air, water and earth, and then fire and fire goes together, air and air, water and water, earth and earth. But that's just basic knowing your sun sign. Okay.
I want to jump in here for one reason.
Yes.
Because you said Pisces, one of the last you said. Dawn, Searsport, Maine, checked in at instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com. She says, I'm a Pisces and my fiance is an Aries. Would you say we are compatible?
This is the thing. I have a whole little note on this. So typically, you hear that thing, opposites attract. It's true, because what energy you lack in your own chart, you tend to draw it in relationships. Like that's who you're compatible with. That's who you're attracted to. You may not know, like, why do I like them so much? Like, I just really like them, or I can really communicate with them, or I just feel like a passion with them, right?
Well, it's almost like, would it be also like this, where you have a woman who's, kind of reserved, but, a little outgoing. And then you have the bad boy, motorcycle dude, whatever.
And that's Aries.
Right.
So to the Pisces that asked this question, Pisces are typically, spiritual, artistic, creative, emotional, sensitive, and Pisces are selfless. Okay. I know a lot of Pisces that marry Aries and date Aries, because Aries are the opposite of that. Aries are selfless, are selfish, because, and it's not in a bad way, they're focused on their own goals and needs. They're the warrior. Their keyword is I am. So Aries are blunt, straightforward. They go after what they want. They want action. They're known to be the bad boy that rides a motorcycle. I've dated some back in the day. I was drawn to them. But they are very romantic, passionate, and very action-focused people. And Pisces are more peaceful, calm. So that energy can be attractive because it's kind of what you wish you were like, and an Aries can be drawn to a Pisces because they are, caring. And they, or listen and listen to their problems, and it can be a attraction. I would have to see more. I guarantee there's something in her chart that has something that makes her attracted to the Aries.
Okay.
So, and what I typically see when I see this kind of opposite, right? Water and fire as a sun sign alone. There's always something when I pull up the relationship charts of why they're drawn to a certain sign. And usually we look at Mercury, the planet of communication. Because if her Mercury's in Aries, she's going to love that Aries energy, right? Because it's direct, blunt, truthful, to the point, because she's going to be that way as a communicator. Or Venus, the planet of love and relationships. It's how you feel peace and how you express love. Her Venus could be in Aries, very compatible with an Aries sun, right? Then we look at Mars, which is the sexuality planet, the passion planet. Where is it? And that's kind of who you're attracted to. It could be, she could have Mars in Aries, even though she's a Pisces sun. She could have the moon in Aries, which is what I have. And I used to draw Aries like that's all I dated was Aries growing up. And I would walk in a room and know them. I'm like, oh yeah, if I'm drawn to someone, I'm like, they're an Aries every time.
So
And,
based on experience here, Aries, I feel you're spot on with that. My daughter's an Aries. My mom was dated somebody who was exactly the same personalities. And just how you described it, that they're very strong-willed. I don't mean it in a bad way about themselves, but it's about them. Okay.
Confident. They're confident. They're a little bit self-centered. They are.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
that works for them. We don't mean that in a bad way. That works for them. However, Pisces, you said Virgos and Pisces get along. I feel friction. Like my son is a Pisces, and I feel that Pisces is March, right?
What day? What day?
March 7th.
Okay, he is a Pisces. Yes.
Pisces, and my dad was March 6th. Ironically, my daughter is April 6th, and my mom was April 5th. Weird.
Oh, that's cool.
Isn't that right? But I find my relationship with my son, it's all good, but there's sometimes a little bit of rubbing friction there. Was kind of the same with my dad. And I dated somebody, like the second girl I ever dated, was a Pisces, and I would have to describe her the same exact way as I would describe my son and my dad. Like it's kind of the same.
What was it? What was it? Because Virgo, because we're Earth and we're very practical, and we're all about kind of solving problems. Like, let's fix this. Where Pisces can get into this victim mentality sometimes, like they want to, like blame others or everyone's against me. They can get into this emotional kind of thing.
I didn't detect that, or don't detect that. However, it's more of my view of Pisces and my experience. It's more of it's this way or it's no way. It's my way or it's no way. There's no,
when they get their emotions involved. Yeah, when their emotions are involved, they're like, no, this is what I want. This is what I believe, kind of thing.
And that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
That's my experience. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Pisces are the two fishes. So like Gemini, I find that they can have two different kind of sides to them. These two sides, I really do see that, because they can also morph, and they're chameleons. So they can kind of adapt to your personality or adapt to other people. And sometimes you're like wishy-washy too. It's hard for them to make a decision sometimes, because they just feel and morph and kind of go along with what the energy is.
There's no doubt in my mind, and again, in my experience of all the Geminis, and I was married to one, dated one, there is definitely other sides to them. What is the sign? Oh, the twins. Duh.
The twins. Yeah.
There's other sides to them. Whether they choose to reveal those sides,
true,
is their choice. Maybe they never will. Maybe they do. Maybe whatever. It's that I don't want to put a stereotype on anybody, but kind of that's the way it is. in my view. I don't know.
Well, the thing is with Gemini, this is what I learned as a Virgo, and this kind of goes with the elements, going back to the basics. Earth signs typically have trouble with the air signs. And it's because we like to feel comfort and security and loyalty, and that we like to know that people are with us and like trust. Like they say they're going to do something, they do it. we don't like people that change their mind or change their emotions, like that we feel we can't rely on. And Gem and air signs can be that way because they fluctuate. They're air. It's hard to, how do you grasp air? I
Is
can't
that
feel.
where the term airy comes up?
Yes, airy. I walked into the bookstore with my daughter one time, and the girl that waited on it, she was so airy, like in another world. I'm like, oh, she's got air in her chart. I guarantee. I said, she's an Aquarius. I said, are you an Aquarius? She said, yes, I am. I can feel the air. So I used to always click. I was attracted to Gemini energy, and that's probably why you are too.
Agreed.
Because of Mercury. They share our ruler because we can communicate with them. So we think, ooh, they're witty, they're sarcastic. But then when it gets down to the deeper in a relationship, they're not for us. Virgo and Gemini are not good together as far as a love relationship. Yeah.
You were spot on 100% in my experience there, without a doubt. And I might even look at it this way. Virgos are a little more reserved, whereby Geminis are more outgoing. And what you said before, sometimes we search for what we aren't or don't have. So, that's kind of cool. I kind of like that. So I'm attracted to that. And then vice versa.
Yeah, we attract our opposite. I did chart for a long, long time ago for this couple that had been married for 20 years. And they were friends and everything. And they're like, we're really thinking of divorcing. And I'm like, okay, let me look at your chart. And it was crazy because the husband had no fire in his chart. He was all water. And like she had no water, zero in her chart. And and so they were attracted to the opposite energy that they lacked. You kind of drawn to the energy you lack or the traits that you admire.
Yes.
You lack. And once you get over all that and understand yourself and know your birth chart, that's when you can start picking the right partner. When you know what I need. Okay, I need a committed, reliable person. Bottom line. You'll start knowing yourself as you get older. Yeah, when you're young.
I want to share, you use the trust word. We're not focusing on Virgo, but
Yeah.
I saw this quote from Bob Marley, and it just resonated with me now in my life. Just what you said, Carmen, as you get experience. But how's it go? It's love all, trust few, do wrong to none. And the trust few thing is a little uncomfortable, but I think as life goes on, you realize you can't trust everybody. That kind of makes sense.
True.
I don't know.
It's true. And this opposites attract, when you're not with, someone's compatible with you, like we look at the Venus, we look at the Mars, we look at the moon sign, because the moon and sun, flip can be very compatible as well. If like you're a Virgo sun, someone with the Virgo moon, they're going to be drawn to you. You're going to feel comfortable with them. You're going to feel comfortable with them. And like I was drawn to Aries because I have an Aries moon, but I got too much Virgo. I have too much earth to be with an Aries, and they never would commit. I felt like they were unfaithful. There were things that happened and I could not rely on them. But I always held a strong chemistry with them. And I thought, wow, I don't feel like that with any other signs, but I know it's the chart. And then I realized this is not a good match for me as love. Now, friendship, work, we're good. I mean, we click, but I knew I needed someone that was an earth sign. So I married a Virgo, and I'm glad I did, but I had to learn that the hard way. And I knew astrology, which helped me maybe prevent me from marrying an Aries, but I probably would have married an Aries if I didn't know astrology. And so I probably
would you say,
right now.
Would you say that before you enter into a relationship that you probably should have your chart done and their chart done?
Oh, yeah, but definitely. I mean, that's the first thing like I recommend for people now, because I'm like, let me look. And people have been sending me stuff, like their teenager or their daughter's dating someone. Can you, they're concerned about it. Can you look at their charts? And
Sure.
Absolutely. And I just had a friend, I was on a podcast, last year, and did her chart and stuff and was looking. She's like, who's my best match? Oh, she's single. She's on some dating sites and stuff. And I said, well, who have you been dating? She goes, well, I was married to a Scorpio. It didn't work out. We divorced. Then I keep dating Scorpios, and I just can't trust them. She said, there's something that it's like they hide things from me. I said, okay, let me see why you're attracted. Well, I looked at her chart and I saw, okay, you're attracted because you have all earth. Like you don't have any water in your chart. So I said, you need a Capricorn, Virgo, or a Taurus. I said, this is who would be good for you. You need to look for those signs on the dating sites.
Wow.
And I told her, and she listened. She's starting to look now because she was attracting the same energy over and over again. And it never worked. And she's like, it's just something always goes wrong, or I don't feel comfortable. And I go, yeah, but there's a strong physical attraction sometimes. And then sometimes, I remember when I dated this one person, I felt like they were my brother. I mean, so comfortable, but no chemistry. Just it was like a brother, a friend.
Mhm.
You have that, and that means you're not meant to be in a romantic relationship.
Sure.
And sometimes the biggest thing too is can you communicate well? Because you need to be able to communicate with each other, and you have to have a good balance, not just the physical, because that can fade. And you need similar interests, similar beliefs, and be able to talk and share interest, and that can help you also kind of rebuild a spark, after you're married 50 years, or,
Sure.
you need that.
I was just going to ask you, and we're just about out of time.
Oh my
Have
God.
you ever looked at the charts of couples that have been married 50 years, 40 years, whatever?
Yes. I'll tell you 2 examples as I recall. My parents. So
Okay.
my parents have been married 50 years, and they got married 18, 19 years old, so a while
Mhm.
back, and high school sweethearts. And I always wondered, how had they stayed married? Like, what the heck, So I was looking at their charts. My mom is a Sagittarius sun, and my dad is a Sagittarius moon. And he is has some Virgo. She's got some Sagittarius. So it's the sun moon flip, because how she is outwardly, he is emotionally. And all of the couples that I've looked at that have been married like 20 plus years, they are sun moon flip in their chart. That is
Wow.
one of the highest compatibilities I've seen with my research. Is that's a very good match if someone has their moon sign and when you're in your sun sign, vice versa. And then of course I looked at Venus and Mars, and everything was really compatible too. But traditionally, a Capricorn and Sagittarius wouldn't get along, but because of his Sag moon and her Sag sun, and same with my grandparents, they're polar opposites. My grandfather was a Capricorn, my grandmother was a Cancer, but that's the polar opposite, which means you're compatible, right? Earth and water in the sky, they share similar things. So they were married 60 something years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you just made me think, I'm dating somebody whose father is a Virgo. Yeah, the reason I'm bringing this up is they've been together 50 years. I'm not sure what sign her mom is, his wife, but her dad, the person I'm dating, has the same exact birthday as me.
No way.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
So I don't know.
It's
how do we-
numerology. That's a whole nother show.
That's a whole other show. Yeah. How do we find you if we want to get a chart done? Look into this compatibility thing through astrology. How do we connect with you?
Sure. You can find me on my website, Carmen Turner-Schott, SCHOTT.com. You can find me on my YouTube channel, Carmen Turner-Schott, Facebook, Carmen Turner-Schott, author, Instagram, Carmen Turner-Schott. And you can find me through there. You can find all my books on Amazon. I have sun signs, moon signs books, 12th house, 8th house books out there on Amazon that are very basic books to teach you all about the basics of all of this stuff. Compatibility, relationships, all of that is in my sun signs and moon signs book. So
it's fascinating. You could just be a compatibility astrological expert alone. And then
I would love that. I love doing
like,
that.
seriously.
I love helping people with it. Yeah.
but here's the thing. You are a psychological astrologer, meaning that you have a deep psychology background, which makes it very different. You get into the mind, not just reading the stars. Carmen, always great having you on here. Really
Thank
is.
you. Thank
Yeah,
you. Talk
fun
to you
stuff.
soon.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.